Hi and welcome. Now today I would like to speak to you about how do I use the sidechain on a bass track and why do I use it. So it is important, and majority of the time I'm using a sidechain compression on the bass track. Why? Because in modern composition, often there's a conflict between the kick drum and the bass line. They tend to not get along, and they always try to cover. Both of them are acting on the same frequency range. So in order to find solution, generally I apply a sidechain compression on the bass line, meaning that I put a sidechain on the bass track so that in the moment when the kick drum is kicking, the bass is going in the background, but when the kick is over, the bass will come back. So let me just show you what I mean and how do I apply the sidechain compression on the bass line. So here you can see I have opened already a project where I have the beat and the bass line. Now the bass line is a continuous bass line, meaning that continuously sounds. So you can hear that the bass line it's sounding all the time. So there's no stop, and even when the kick is there, just hear the bass line. So you can hear that the bass line is a continuous one. The kick and the bass line do not have enough space at the low frequency range to be able to sound good, both of them. So we have to find solution. Then when the kick drum is kicking, then the bass sound should go in the background, and only when the kick finished the attack, and then the bass line can come back and have the level that has generally. So I will just show you without just the kick and the bass line. So you can hear that dum dum even when the kick is acting dum dum. We cannot distinguish the bass and the kick. So the bass line tend to cover the kick. So that's why we are applying a sidechain compression. Now, how do I apply a sidechain compression? You can see already I created another track. Now in this track, I'm using the simpler. It's a sample player, and I put in the sample player a kick drum. Let me just, you can hear it. So this is so we have a kick drum, and this kick drum is kicking the same way that the actual kick. The main difference between this kick and the actual kick is that this one is it has not that long time of action. It's quicker, so it will really just activate the sidechain at the first period of the kick, because what we want in the sidechain is to let the kick to have that punch and that attack, but then we want to recover the baseline powerfully and just complement the kick drum. So it will be a half kick, and the rest is kick and baseline all together. So in order to do that, so I created a normal track of kick, where just I shortened the action period of the kick. And then on the baseline, this time I will use the compressor from Ableton Live. So I insert the compressor from Ableton Live, and then you can see we have the part of sidechain. I will turn on the sidechain, and then I will select the track that I created specially for sidechaining, and I already it's there. So I named sidechain, and then now we have to set up the sidechain, the compression. What we want is a very quick action. We want to compress the baseline just in the moment when the kick drum is acting, when it's kicking, when it's punching, and then we want the baseline to get a quick recovery. But let me just show you what I mean. So let's just hear the baseline. So generally, I like to put the ratio as high as possible, but generally I'm using I put on 3 milliseconds, and then the tag as low as quick as possible, and then I can play a little bit with the release time. Release time is the recovery time, the action and the recovery time. So I put down the threshold, and you can hear already how the sidechain is actually working. Now the release time now is too much, is way too much. So let's just bring down. I'm at 50 milliseconds. Generally, I know I have 24, between 24 and 10. I will leave it at 10. So now, let us hear the entire the track without sidechain. So we have the kick, and now with sidechain. And now let's hear the entire beat and the bass without sidechain first. And now with sidechain. And now without sidechain. Try to listen more the kick. Try to listen more the kick. See if you observe a difference. Without sidechain. Without sidechain. Now with sidechain. So in order to find solutions so that we can hear every instrument and that we do not arrive at the point where one instrument will cover the other one, and if we cannot find separate frequency range for the different instruments, in that case it is really advisable to apply sidechain, meaning that you have to take a decision to say when you want to hear something more directly than the other one, and this way you can play a little bit with the sound, and the sounds can become complementary to each other. So I hope this was informative, and see you next time.